You guys asked, so here it is. 1 year devlog developing our cozy baking game, Madame Fifi's Bakery. We've been developing this game since last September, and every single month there's been significant progress from going from literally nothing to having a Kickstarter, having a 50,000 following on TikTok, 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, a demo up on Steam and itch.io, tons of feedback, and people playing our game all across the globe. So we've come pretty far in the year, and we have an amazing team and amazing portfolio to back it up now. So I thought we would go month by month and explain what we did, the highlights of that month, and how fun the process has been so far. Let's hop right into it. Before we go back to last September, let's rewind all the way to when I was 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, I was in the metro and I saw an ad for a video game design program. I saw it and immediately was, oh my gosh, it was like fireworks to me. I was like, a game design program where you don't only just learn programming, but you also learn art, marketing, design, everything to do with making an independent video game. I did what any other 18-year-old with tons of ambition would do. I signed up and I applied to that program. The only application requirement was that you're 1 year out of high school, and I was exactly 1 year out of high school. So I applied, got in, and I joined that program. I was in a year in that program, then I took a semester off because I was also studying at university and still am for computer science. And I decided to do a competition with Ubisoft, which I eventually did win, and I was in a team of all guys. We developed a game called Feline Fortress, which is now on Steam. Through that experience, I wanted to learn how it's like to be in a competitive environment, and I learned that that's really for me. I'm someone that really wants to do this as a career. I just enjoy the process of making something from nothing so much. When I went back into the independent video game design program after taking a semester off, I knew that I wanted to make a full game release. And the goal of this program was to learn all the skills necessary to make a game. And the final semester of the program, you always have to make a game with your team and have it like a vertical slice. So for those of you who don't know, a vertical slice is basically a game concept, but like almost like a demo, like a very, very small concept, but it has all of the polished art, polished music, everything of the game, but in a very, very small bite-sized format. So I knew that whatever project I was going to do for the graduation of this program, I wanted to take and commercialize it. And I wanted my team to also be on the same page as me. So in September, let's go to September. I was looking around my class full of new faces because I had skipped a semester and everyone in that class was brand new to me. I fell upon a few people that I was like, I feel like they would be on the same page as me and they would be fun to work with. And to my absolute delight, Marie, now the technical director of CozyCat Games, reached out to me. Before I even reached out to her, I was about to reach out to her and she reached out to me. So it was like a synchronized thing. And she was like, would you like to collaborate? We had worked together on a project in which I was the producer and she was the programmer. So I was managing the team schedule and everything like that and managing what tasks are getting done in communication, and she was doing the programming. And that really worked well for us. So we decided to team up for this final project. Then she had suggested that we meet with Shin, who is an amazing 2D artist and 3D artist. And so she also tagged along with us for our final project. Then we sent out a message in our communal Discord server for our cohort, and we found another programmer, Irina, who was an amazing programmer. She does a lot of VR stuff. She was won awards for making this VR birds application, and she's very, very technically savvy. So we were a team of 4 women that started off, and we formed our team in September. That brings us to October, and in October we decided to open up our Discord server, and the very first message, or one of the very first messages that I sent, was a list of bullet points of things that I wanted to include and make sure that everyone is on the same page for the final project. What I said was that I would love for the game to actually be released and potentially for mobile. I would love for us to document the process of our game creation on social media and potentially have an indie studio, not registered with the government or anything. And it's so funny because we are registered with the government now. And then I said, I'd love to do a game with a bit of narrative. And that's exactly what Madame Fifi's Bakery is. So this is a sign that manifestation is real, guys. We needed a name for our social media handle. So we went along with CozyCat Games because we were all big cat people and we knew we wanted to make it Cozygames. And it just had a little bit of a ring to it. Then one of our game design teachers has this concept of the emoji wheel. What it basically is like, you know, when you go to the casino in Las Vegas or whatever, and there's the 777 wheel. So it's like that, but instead of it being gambling, you do 3 emojis that give you a concept for the game. And based on those 3 emojis, you have to do like game jams and stuff like that. So for 2 weeks, we actually rolled that emoji wheel and put it in the Discord server and came up with concepts. And some of the ideas that came about with that was this concept that Marie had about an astronaut cleaning service that goes to different planets. We had this one where there was a mouse burglar who would steal watermelons, and then we had one that's like this Little Red Riding Hood and a giraffe combination. And independently, I also wanted to create a horse game, but no one was on the same page as me for horse games. And the winning emoji combo that sparked our joy for the current game concept was a tulip, a cake, and a tiger. And immediately, fireworks. the concept for Madame Fifi's Bakery was born. Then I opened up our TikTok page and we rapidly grew a following. I have a whole video if you want to check it out over here where I outline exactly how I grew on TikTok. I believe that any indie studio can reach a large following on TikTok because TikTok is great for new concepts and new games, anything exciting in short form. So my strategy is outlined in that video if you want to check it out. And also Shin created a logo for us and it was so cute. She said that it was just a rough temporary sketch, but I love the look of this cat so much that we just kept it. And it's literally the logo for all of our social media platforms. The name of the game took a few iterations to get right. At first, we wanted to call it Magic Pancake, and actually to this day, that's what our GitHub file is called. I don't know how to change it, but Magic Pancake, it's there. And then we had this other idea where croquembouche, where it's like this type of pastry, this French pastry, and we wanted to do châtaimbouche. If you speak French, you know that sounds actually very perverted and dirty, and I don't know why this keeps on happening to me. For the actual Ubisoft game that I made, I initially wanted to call it Domestic Defender. Now it's Feline Fortress, but it just happens that I get very unlucky with game names sounding very inappropriate. We landed on Madame Whisker's Bakery, Madame Kitty's Bakery, Madame Fifi's Pastisserie, Madame Fifi's Bakery, and that one just, it was it. Fireworks. You know, when you just know, you know. You know. November was the launch of our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is 9 months old and we actually already have 3,000 subscribers, which I think is an absolutely amazing start. And you guys know that I'm not just making videos about our game, I'm making videos about indie games in general. So it was a great way to start off that channel. And I made a Who Are We video that kind of featured our story. We didn't really know what game we were making exactly at the time that I created that video, but I was just like trying to experiment with video editing and seeing what worked. And the style of video that I create now, it's very different than that. It was really cool that we did a hybrid of in-person classes and online classes with the program that we were doing, and that we had milestones and deadlines because of the academic setting we were under. I think it was a great way to kind of use the runway of education and assignments to propel the actual dream and the commercialization of this game that we had. So it was really great to also collaborate with our teachers because all of them were doing a job in the video game industry during the day and teaching us at night. So they all had real, like, decades of experience, and they were so helpful and critical in the creation of our game and the concept of it. Now in December, it was the time for our first in-person playtest, and we had our demo up that we had developed over the past 1.5 months. This is the demo on screen. It's very different than the current concept of the game. The first main difference is that all of the mini games are very actually tactile. They're very similar to the act of whatever mini game you're doing. It's not fun in that way. It's very realistic. So it kind of came across, and a lot of the people that gave us feedback said that it felt like very much like a kid's game. So that's one pothole that we were trying to avoid. In December, we met Kat, the creative art director, the current creative art director, and the way we met, it's such a meet cute, and it honestly feels like fate. So I was in the playtest room, and I was helping people play Madame Fifi's Bakery, and someone came up to me and they were like, "Helena, oh my gosh, you guys have a poster for your game out in the hallway. That's so beautiful. It's so beautifully drawn." I was like, who put a poster of our game up in the hallway? I didn't do that. So went out into the hallway, go take a look, and it's this game. This poster for this cat game where you play as a cat who is a traveling baker and bakes pastries out of his food truck. And it was called Patisserie. And you know, what are the odds of 2 cat baking games being in the same place at the same time? I look at the card next to the project to find the name of the artist, and there was only 2 people with the same name as this person in our school. The reason why I knew this, I went on the university's database to find who this was, and I reached out to her through the emailing service that is hosted through our college, and lo and behold, I found her. We made a connection, and that's how I met Kat. Also in December, our good friend Thomas, who was also in our cohort, is a baker, and he gave us a baking class, which I vlogged and put up on the channel, giving us kind of the behind the scenes of how you make certain pastries so we could get a better grasp on the mini games required to make the pastries that we want in Madame Fifi's Bakery. Also, Irina got a job opportunity for BC, British Columbia, and she had to unfortunately leave us, so we were down to just 3 members at the time. I was really hoping that Kat would join us so we could balance it out more, because we were very, very sad to see the loss of Irina going to another place, unfortunately. In January, we had the month off of school. We only started school, I think it was like the 29th of January. So we were taking the time to rest, reprioritize, and recenter. We had worked very hard in this last semester, and we knew that the next semester was going to be the busiest one yet because we were graduating from the program at the end of the semester in May. So we took the time to rest, and we also talked quite a bit about the fact that our game felt like a kid's game, and that wasn't necessarily what we wanted to do. We wanted to do a cozy game, not a kid's game. There's a little bit of a difference there. So we were talking about that, and we took it pretty easy in January. In February, that's when Kat joined our team finally, and the very first drawing that she did was this one of Darla, and instantly, we knew prior that her art was going to be good, but we didn't know it'd be this good. Followed by drawing Darla, she did Malay, she did Timothy and Jasmine, and then she also did some pastry sketches, and then she did the chou au noix, and then she also did this animatic that we post at the end of every one of our YouTube videos. So she did so much in that February. She was a machine. We were so grateful to have her. We knew that our project would be a success. I started posting the concept art and explaining it in our TikTok, and started to do pretty well on TikTok. My teacher advised that I make 3 TikToks a day if we wanted to reach our Kickstarter goal in June or July. So I took that very, very seriously. I'd make 3 TikToks a day, and I also made a YouTube video every week or every second week. Very, very seriously with the marketing because I really wanted to make this happen. In February, we also started using the project management software called Jira. This is where we had weekly sprints. So we would organize our tasks and say, okay, by the end of this week, I want to have this, this, and this done. And we had everything chunked up into goals that we had for different milestones. We knew that we had to have a big, big demo available by May. So we would work backwards and prioritize how many things that we needed to do each month, and then each week, and then each day. And every single day, we would also have a daily scrum, which is where in our Discord channel, we would say what we worked on yesterday, what we're working on today, and what we intend on working on tomorrow, so everyone knows what everyone is doing all the time. I really tried to create an open space and a place where people feel okay to poke others or just say things and feel open to communicate and not feel bad if they don't get the work done, and that we have a healthy work-life balance. March was a great month. We went viral on TikTok. We had multiple videos go viral. One of the videos was talking about how these are some of the customers that enter your bakery. Then we had calling all bakers. If you're a baker, we need your help, where I asked people to say their favorite pastry from their country to help us inspire us for our cozy baking game. I also made a video about artists. So if you're an artist, we need your help. And this one, people would draw fan art of customers that they think would join our bakery. And yeah, we were doing very, very well on social media. We went from 3,000 followers to 30,000 followers in just a week or something like that. It was wild. So that was great. March was very, very eventful socially. In April, we were really working hard on developing the game in sprints and making sure that we're reaching our goal because it was coming up. The deadline was coming up. Marie was really working technically hard on scriptable objects and making sure that our game is scalable because our game is having many different pastries, and we also wanted to have substitutions for different pastries, for different ingredients in the pantry and everything like that, making everything a scriptable object. Our mentors were super helpful in that time. They helped us make the game more visually polished, more fun, and doing a bunch of fine tweaking. And our classmates were also super supportive. And we were playing their games, they would play our games, and everyone would be very collaborative in the process of developing our game, especially in the final few months of the program. Also, we became a partnership in April, so I registered us with the government and I worked on making sure that everything legally was okay because I wanted this to go beyond just the program of independent video game design. In May, we had the second in-person playtest, and this one we brought tons of pastries for, and Kat made this gorgeous poster art, which is on our Steam page and all of our main platforms. In May, we got tons of feedback about different things. People really liked the mini games more because they were more interactive and less mundane, and also people gave us feedback about the writing and the dialogue. I did the writing myself, so people were playing our game in person in May, but I still hadn't posted our game on socials or online yet. It was just people that we knew and people in the program. In June, we graduated from the independent video game design program, and that was super fun. Having done that 2.5 year long program was really motivating, and it made us feel more qualified to be game designers because we actually had this piece of paper now that told us that we were game designers, indie game developers especially. We also did a rework of the background. Kat's friend is a very, very talented background artist. She 3D models things and then overlines it in 2D, and we felt that we had to really step up our game for the background to make it something really polished, especially since the players spend so much time in the kitchen. And then also we were prepping for a Kickstarter campaign, which is coming up in 1 month. I was stressing out because our socials were not performing as well as they were in March. So working on that really hard. Then in July, as we all know, July 15th, we had the Kickstarter campaign. And it was only 2 days prior to that I had posted our demo up on Steam and itch.io. That wasn't enough of a buffer of time, and that along with many other reasons also just posting on TikTok rather than on YouTube, and focusing on short-term content where people aren't as engaged with me and as invested in our development were all reasons that we didn't make our Kickstarter goal in the end. But we were still doing really well, and we were optimistic at the beginning because it was performing very well at the beginning of our campaign. Lastly, in August now, this is where we are now. In August, that was when our Kickstarter campaign failed. We did get 50% funded and $30,000. We didn't get to keep any of it because Kickstarter is all or nothing. If you don't get the full amount of funding, no one even gets charged in the first place. So didn't go through. That was unfortunate, but it's okay. We're still reprioritizing and we're replanning, as I always like to say. We're well rested now. Kat and I are about to go together to Costa Rica literally tomorrow, so I'm gonna take another week off, and then I'm going to focus on communicating with you guys what me and my team are working on in the future and our plans for development. We do still plan on making the full game for next September. That's the big goal of our studio, right? So to have a Steam release next September, and we would love for it to be on Nintendo Switch as well, but this does depend on funding. So we got a few options in the air, still talking about that, seeing what's gonna work out. There's definitely a demand for the game. People love the concept of the game, but it is our first project, and also we really rely on people's feedback in order to make it good. You know the saying how you don't smell your own BO? I kind of feel like we're going through something like that. Like there's something major about our game concept that needs to be changed, or maybe go in either the more narrative or more like actual mini game focused route, but we're a little bit in between. So we're working on that, obviously taking everyone's feedback into consideration, but at the end of the day, we're the game developers, we're the ones deciding what's happening. So we're chatting with that and seeing what's going to happen in the future, but the game's still going forward with development. We're still going to work on it. Obviously we have other things, school, work, and all these other priorities in life, but this is something that I want to take full time and take into the future. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope that you enjoyed it and it shed some light on what it's like to run an indie game studio, how the process of making a game demo and everything is like, and also highlighted the perks of working in a team instead of working solo. It's something that I really enjoy and I'm really grateful for. I have worked solo before, and it's really demotivating when there's an obstacle or something like that. So I really, really like that. And let me know any questions that you have in the comments. I'll be answering those, reading them as always. And let me know what other videos you want to see from me in the future. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!